Hey, tonight's video will be about eyeshadow brushes. I love eye makeup the most, but I don't think I really like eyeshadow brushes as much as I do face brushes because they have more hair and they're just fluffier. I'm also going to to make this video all in one go again. Don't have that much time to edit and everything. It takes a really long time. So let's just get started with the eyeshadow laydown brushes. So, sorry, I'm trying to adjust the lighting. Start off with the Hakuhodo B004G. Let me push this up so you can see better. So you can see here, it's just your typical flat eyeshadow laydown brush. It is quite thin, so I have the MAC 239 to compare it to right here. This is pretty old. My MAC 239 is pretty old, so the color looks really weird. The MAC 239 is shorter. The hairs are shorter. It's more of a rectangular shape than the 004G. I don't know how to describe it. It's like more rounded at the top, kind of like a rounded mountain. And then this one on the right here, the MAC 239, is just, how do I describe it? Like a stubby bush. But it definitely is thicker than the Hakuhodo variant. If you can see here, it's a lot denser. So a lot of people love the MAC one to lay down and pack down shadows, as opposed to the Hakuhodo one. I think is just okay. And oh, I forgot to mention that this is not just about eyeshadow brushes, but it's about my favorite eyeshadow brushes. Sorry. So next up is the Chikuhodo Takumi T6. This is a tulip shaped brush. It's quite dense, so I normally do not like tulip shaped brushes for the face, but for eyes I'm all for it. It's a really good all over eyeshadow brush. So if you have like a matte shade after you apply eyeshadow primer, I definitely think this is a great option to have. Even if you have smallish eyes like I do, this is great to just sweep the eyeshadow all over your lid. And plus it's soft. So it's just, it's tapered, it's quite dense, but it's not super dense. The next one I'm going to show you is really dense. I don't know if this is focusing properly. Okay, so if I move this out, maybe it'll focus better. Okay, maybe not. Alright, so here's the Wayne Goss 16. I think it's a 16. Yeah, Wayne Goss 16. I really like this brush. I wasn't expecting to like it that much because it looks super dense and just, I don't know, like too dense for my liking, but when I got it and used it, I fell in love. I definitely like it more than the Wayne Goss 19. That one's a completely different brush, but I think it's really funny because I ended up loving this one and not liking the one I thought I would like, which is the 19. So this one's great for all over eyeshadow color as well. You just take the color and then sweep it over like this. And it's not, if you can see, it's quite flexible, even though it looks very, very dense. It's pretty flexible, so it's great for all over shadow. Let me show you with the Takumi too. Takumi's sweeps like this. Okay, next up I have the Chikuhodo, what was this? The Lumiere eyeshadow brush from last year's Christmas set. This is really good. If you have the Z5, I believe it's very similar to the Z5. And since this was in a Christmas set, it's no longer being sold. So if you want to find something like this, I think the Z5 is the closest thing that you can find. It's made out of squirrel hair. And the other three that I just mentioned are actually made out of goat hair. So this is made out of gray squirrel hair. It's very soft. It's definitely one of those brushes that you use if you want a light sweep of color over your lids, because squirrel does not pick up as much pigment. So if you have, I don't know, like if you're going to work or something and you don't want your eyeshadow to look too pigmented, I definitely recommend this brush. So you just sweep it over, and It's like about this dense. It's not too dense, not too sparse. I do like this brush. I didn't actually start using it until recently, even though I bought the set like last year. Bad habits. Okay, so next up is my favorite crease brush of all time. This is the Koyomo tapered crease brush. I think they call it just like a normal eyeshadow brush on CD Japan. But sorry, I do love this brush a lot. It's my favorite for the outer crease work. I have almond shaped Asian eyes, so they're not like really small, but they're not really big either, and it works really well for that crease area. It's also tapered, so it's like a tulip shape again. So if you compare it to the T6, you can see like this. It's like the baby. And yeah, I don't know. I've heard other people have used this for other types of like eyeshadow or eye work, but I really love this for crease work. So if you have this and you haven't tried it for crease work, I definitely recommend that. Or if you haven't tried this brush out, I do definitely recommend it as well. The short handle is great for nearsighted people like me, and if you're not nearsighted, then I don't know, it's a cute little pink brush. Okay, so then let's move on to let's see, like outer V work. So here is the Takumi Chikuhoro Takumi T8. It's dirty because I used it, but yeah, it's another one of those tapered brushes for outer V work if you do any of that, or you can use this on the lash line. Looks like this. And my favorite outer V brush of all time, or pencil brush of all time, is the MAC 219. I actually don't like MAC brushes, but I have yet to find a brush that's an exact dupe for it. Like I have the Wingos 5 and the Wingos 20, but I don't know, this shape, the MAC one right here is just like so dense, and the hairs are the perfect length, and the shape is just like perfectly tapered. But in my quest of finding a dupe for the MAC one, I stumbled upon the Takumi T8, and it's not an exact dupe, but it does a pretty good job at what the MAC 219 does. The MAC one is actually too scratchy for me, but I keep it because it was one of my first higher end brushes, and I really do love it a lot. Okay, so last pencil brush or crease outer V brush-ish thing is the Hakuhoro Kokutan T brush. It's really cute. Sorry, it's like distracting me, the brushes. This is a really cute stubby scroll brush. So everything is, I think this is made out of blue squirrel. Sorry, I keep forgetting to mention the hairs, but if you see something that's like white or these dirty ones, these are actually made out of, these ones are on the left are made out of goat hair. And then the darker ones are usually made out of squirrel hair, unless otherwise noted. But yeah, this is pretty good for outer crease work as well. I'm not sure if I like it more than my Koyomo, because my Koyomo is more tapered and the hairs aren't as long, or the hairs are longer, so it means that it doesn't place pigment as as like intensely. But this is great because it's extremely soft, so if you have really sensitive eyelids like I do, then it'll work for you. The only thing about squirrel is that it doesn't blend that well, so if you place the eyeshadow onto your outer V or your crease area, like it doesn't blend as well as goat would. So I would take a little bit of precaution while using squirrel eyeshadow brushes. Goat is generally my favorite for like all makeup brushes in general. So then my favorite blending brush of all time is, it's not focused. Okay, so my favorite blending brush of all time is the Hakuhoro B142, or previously the J142. They keep changing the series names, so I really like the name of J142, and that's what I'm used to, so I'm just going to keep it at that. This is the best blending brush I've come across to date. I have tried a lot of blending brushes, and even the Tom Ford 13. I actually like the Hakuhodo version more. If you haven't already noticed, or if you didn't know, Hakuhodo is the maker, the original equipment manufacturer for Tom Ford. And yeah, this is like the perfect little blending brush. It's made out of goat, so it's a little bit tapered. But if you're not into like heavy blending or something that will blend out your color very quickly, I wouldn't recommend this, because this is what this does. If you want softer blending, then the squirrel equivalent, which is the S142 from Hakuhodo, is better at soft blending. They're actually exactly the same. Well, kind of. They are based off of the exact same shape, but squirrel hairs are a lot thinner, which is why the S142 looks a lot thinner than the J142. So this one will actually blend your eyeshadow more softly. And then I have two more eyeshadow favorites. Here is the Wayne, is this Wayne Goss? I'm like, it's hard to see. This is the Wayne Goss 03. Sorry, I'm just like, the color is hard to focus. Okay, here's the Wayne Goss 03, and this is made out of blue squirrel, I believe. It's definitely larger than the S142, so if you can see here, it's larger than that. The hairs are not as soft as the Hakuhodo hairs, even though they're also produced by Hakuhodo. Yeah, they are not as soft, but this makes a really good in-between. So I would say, even though it's larger and it's not as soft, it makes a good in-between the goat variant and the squirrel variant from Hakuhodo, because it's like, I would say it's exactly in the middle for softness, and it's a little bit larger than the two, but it does a really good job at blending as well. So try this out. And then my last blending brush that I really like is the Hakuhodo. Okay, this one's pretty old, so it doesn't have a name on it, but it's the Hakuhodo G5523. So if you have the J5523, which Hakuhodo is very famous for, this is the blue squirrel variant. It's exactly shaped like the J5523, and I like this one. I think I like this one a lot because it does soft focus blending as well. So I would just go like this. Yeah, it's quite a good brush. And lastly, for my brows, I actually don't use Fude for my brows, because I've tried a lot of like just eyebrow brushes, and I always just go back to this Sedona Lace angled, the EB23, this Sedona Lace like angled eyebrow brush. I always just go back to this because I actually use Anastasia Dip Brow, and this one's pretty good. I've used some Fude brushes like made out of like water badger and stuff like that, and I always go back to this because I like the finish with this one the most. And then for spoolies, I just use like this cheapo Sonia Kashuk one. So thanks for watching.